Awakening to war. John Reyes's lungs seized as he jerked awake inside his cryopod, gasping for air. Terror gripped him, squeezing his chest as his eyes snapped open. Frost covered the pod's glass and Reyes slammed the release button. The pod hissed open, and he tumbled out onto the metal floor of the Aurora's cryo bay. His bones ached, his muscles cramped, and his head spun. Around him, hundreds of other cryopods were opening, and groggy colonists staggered out, coughing and retching. They had been in cryosleep for the journey to Alpha Centauri, to establish a new home for humanity. Down on the planet below, the Crone raiding fleet charged their weapons and pointed them toward Earth. Little did they know, their presence had been detected long before their arrival. Earth was prepared, and the response would be swift and deadly. In the cavernous chamber of the Sci-Fi High Council, chaos erupted at Umbra's words. Humans, those depraved, hairless apes are more likely to murder us all than help. Yet Umbra held firm, the survival of his entire race hanging in the balance. The Volkai scourge had slaughtered their way across the galaxy, entire civilizations crumbling before their brutal onslaught. Now they were at the doorstep of the Sethi homeworld. Trillions would die unless— "We have no choice," Umbra said grimly. "I have studied the humans extensively, analyzed the records of their wars, their history. They are vicious, savage, unpredictable. But that is exactly what we need. The Volkai are monsters. To beat them, we need our own monsters." "This is insanity," another counselor spat, but no one could offer an alternative. Umbra was right. They needed a weapon, and there was no deadlier weapon in the universe than humanity unchained. "Send the emissaries to Earth," Umbra commanded. "Find me the most lethal human soldiers. Hire them, bring them here. If we do not act now, we are already dead." Deep in the underbelly of the Earth city called New Haven, a scarred, battle-hardened man named Joseph Gray was exactly the kind of lethal weapon the Sethi needed. Gray had seen the worst of what the universe had to offer. He'd spent a decade as an elite special forces operator, honing his skills in the flames of war until he finally burned out. Jaded and disillusioned, he'd mustered out and drifted, selling his deadly talents to the highest bidder. But there was still an ember of honor buried deep within Gray's soul, a yearning for more than his empty existence as a hired gun. When an alien in strange robes approached him in a sidebar and offered him the job of a lifetime, that ember flared to life. The Sethi needed the best human warriors. Gray would give them the best. His old teammates, the castoffs and mavericks, men like him, broken by the world but forged into weapons of war. If it took monsters to kill monsters, then Gray would build the most fearsome pack of human monsters the galaxy had ever seen. The Sethi looked upon the humans with revulsion and mistrust. Gray understood. He'd seen the darkness lurking in the human heart, but he also knew the heights they could rise to. It was his job to make these aliens see it too, to mold his wolves into a cohesive unit, to earn the respect of the Sethi, even as the specter of galactic annihilation loomed. Failure was not an option. Trillions of lives across hundreds of worlds were depending on Gray and his band of human warriors. They were the shield against the onrushing storm, the Sethi's last desperate hope. Gray knew the odds. He knew the risks. One false step and they'd all burn. But if there was one thing humans were good at, it was spitting in the face of the odds. It was time to show the galaxy what a few exceptional humans could do. Time to bring the monsters to heel. Gray and his team stepped out of the dropship onto the blasted hellscape that had once been the thriving Escathi colony of Arik Prime. The metropolis lay in smoldering ruins, its towering spires reduced to rubble, its streets choked with the bodies of the fallen. The air reeked of smoke, blood, and death. "Jesus," muttered Lazarus, taking in the devastation with a grim set to his scarred features. "Looks like we're in for one hell of a fight, boys." Gray merely nodded, his icy blue gaze already scanning the horizon for threats. A Sethi officer, His chitinous armor battered and scorched, hurried up to the humans. "Commander Gray, thank the gods you've come," the alien said, his voice flanging with exhaustion and desperation. "The Volkai are pressing on all fronts. Our lines are about to collapse. We need your team at the forward defenses immediately." "Lead the way," Gray replied, tersely checking the charge on his pulse rifle. As they double-timed it through the ruined streets, the sounds of battle grew louder. The staccato bark of weapons fire, the bone-shaking thrum of explosions, the screams of the dying. Rounding a corner, they came face to face with the savage reality of the Volkai war machine. A phalanx of towering exosuits, easily 3 times the height of a man, tore through the Scathi infantry. The biomechanical monstrosities were a nightmarish fusion of organic and inorganic components, their arm carapaces jam-packed with spikes and blades, their multiple limbs tipped with vicious claws and pulsing energy weapons. They moved with a terrifying speed and agility, shrugging off the desperate fire of the Scathi defenders as they ripped and tore and blasted their way through the ranks. Behind the shock troops, Volkai Reaper walkers strode through the ruins like malevolent gods. The heavily armed assault platforms, each the size of a small building, laid waste to entire city blocks with devastating plasma cannon and missile barrages. Their impenetrable energy shields shimmered as they soaked up the futile counterfire of the Scathi armor. "Madre de Dios," whispered Dice, crossing himself at the sight of the alien-killing machines. Gray's face hardened into a mask of cold persistence. He'd seen this kind of brutality before in the meat grinder of the KOC campaign, where the enemy had employed similar shock and awe tactics. He knew that to beat an enemy like this, you had to adapt, get unconventional, hit them where they least expected it. "Okay, listen up," he barked, gathering his team around him. "We split into 2 units. Lazarus, you're with me. We'll take Dice and Scarecrow, form a mobile strike team, hit their flanks and supply lines, keep them off balance. Ironhead, Prophet, you anchor the defense here, buy the Scathi some breathing room. We'll stay in constant contact via short-burst transmission." The mercs nodded grimly, checked their weapons one final time. They all knew the stakes, knew that failure here would mean the end of the Scathi and billions of innocents across the galaxy. "Give them hell, boys," Gray said, slamming a fresh power cell into his rifle. "Let's show these alien freaks what happens when you piss off the human race." With that, the team split, racing to their respective positions. Gray led his strike force in a flanking maneuver, ghosting through the rubble-choked side streets as the sounds of battle raged around them. "Dice, you're up," Gray whispered into his cum as they approached a column of Reaper walkers that were pounding the Scathi front. "Make it rain." The wiry demo expert grinned savagely, unslinging a bulky pack from his shoulders. He hastily assembled a jury-rigged launcher, loaded it with a vicious-looking warhead. "Fire in the hole," he muttered, depressing the trigger. The makeshift bunker buster streaked into the lead Reaper, penetrating its shields to detonate directly against its armored hull in a blinding flash. The walker stuttered, belching smoke and flames before toppling to the ground with a catastrophic boom. "Hell yeah," Dice exulted. "Eat that, you oversized cockroaches." Gray allowed himself a tight smile as the strike team moved to their next target, a Volkai communications relay. Maybe, just maybe, if they kept the pressure on, kept the enemy reacting instead of attacking, they could buy the time the Scathi so desperately needed. At the front, Ironhead and Prophet fought like men possessed, rallying the battered Scathi defenders in the face of the relentless Volkai onslaught. Ironhead waded into the thick of the fighting, a mobile fortress in his power armor, his monstrous chain axe screaming as it tore through the biomechanical horrors. He was a one-man army, shrugging off blows that would have pulped an ordinary human, bellowing war cries over the din of combat. The Scathi soldiers stared in awe, their flagging morale soaring at the sight of the humans' indomitable strength and ferocity. "Come on, you scaly dogs. Ironhead roared, bisecting a Volkai shock trooper with a mighty swing. "Stand your ground. Show 'em what you're made of." The monsters unleashed. The tension in the room was palpable as the High Council of the Tenki reviewed the footage of Grey and his team in action. Despite their initial skepticism, the Tenki leaders were beginning to see the merit in Umbra's plan. The humans were ferocious and adaptable, qualities that the Tenki lacked in their centuries of peaceful existence. The Council had to admit that these traits might be their only hope against the relentless Volkai. Desperate measures. As Grey and his team continued to repel the Volkai on Arik Prime, Umbra convened a special session of the Council. He knew they needed to take more drastic measures if they were to turn the tide of the war. "The humans have shown their mettle," he began, "but they are only a small force. We need more of their kind if we are to stand any chance." One of the elder councillors, his scales dulled with age, scoffed. "You propose we bring more of these savages into our midst. They will destroy us from within." Umbra's eyes hardened. "Better to be destroyed from within than annihilated from without. We must act swiftly. We have no other choice." Gathering the pack, back on Earth, Joseph Grey knew he needed to expand his team. He sent out a call to arms, reaching out to old comrades and those who had proven themselves in the fires of combat. The response was swift and overwhelming. Warriors from every corner of the globe, each with their own story of hardship and battle, answered the call. Among them were Maya Hawkeye Rodriguez, a sharpshooter with an uncanny ability to hit targets at extreme distances; Liam Tank O'Connor, a hulking brute of a man who could turn the tide of any battle with his sheer physical presence; Zara Ghost Khan, a stealth operative who could infiltrate and sabotage enemy lines without leaving a trace; Alex Tech Morgan, a genius hacker who could manipulate any digital system to their advantage. Grey's unit was growing into a formidable force. These were not just soldiers. They were survivors, each one driven by a personal vendetta against the Volkai or a burning desire to protect humanity. A new mission. Umbra received word that the humans were ready for their next mission. The Volkai were advancing on the Tenki homeworld of Seren, and this battle would determine the fate of their race. Grey and his expanded team were to be the spearhead of the defense, using their unique skills to outmaneuver and outfight the technologically superior Volkai. Grey gathered his team for a briefing. The holographic display showed the city of Seren, a sprawling metropolis with key strategic points, marked in red. "Our primary objective is to hold the central command hub," Grey explained. "If the Volkai take it, they can cripple the Tenki's planetary defenses." Hawkeye studied the map. "What about these supply depots? If we hit them, we could slow down their advance." Grey nodded. "Good thinking. Ghost, you'll lead a team to sabotage the depots. Tank, you're with me at the command hub. Tech, I need you to disrupt their communications and feed them false intel." The plan was set. They would use their human ingenuity and unconventional tactics to outsmart the Volkai. It was a long shot, but it was their only shot. The battle for Seren. The skies above Seren were darkened by Volkai warships. The ground shook as their landing craft deployed wave after wave of troops. Grey and his team were ready. They had fortified the command hub and set traps throughout the city. As the first Volkai units advanced, Hawkeye took her position on a high tower. Her rifle cracked, and the lead Volkai fell, a clean shot through its skull. The battle had begun. Tank roared as he charged into the fray, his massive frame a living battering ram. He swung his reinforced fists, smashing through the Volkai ranks with brutal efficiency. The Tenki defenders, inspired by the humans' fearlessness, rallied and held their ground. Ghost and her team moved like shadows through the city, planting explosives at key supply depots. The explosions rocked the Volkai lines, causing chaos and confusion. Tech, meanwhile, hacked into the Volkai communication network, feeding them false orders that led their troops into ambushes. Despite their efforts, the Volkai were relentless. They pressed forward, their superior numbers and technology slowly overwhelming the defenders. Gray knew they needed to do something drastic. "Umbra, this is Gray," he radioed. "We need air support. If you have any ships that can fight, now's the time to use them." Meanwhile, Strike Team Bravo had infiltrated the communication hub. Ghost moved like a wraith through the facility, planting devices to disrupt the Volkai's communication network. With each sabotage, the Volkai's coordination faltered, creating openings for the other teams. Strike Team Charlie, led by Tech, faced a formidable challenge in the form of the Volkai's automated defense systems. Using his hacking prowess, Tech bypassed security protocols, shutting down turrets and disabling traps. His efforts cleared the way for the other teams to advance. The final push. As the battle raged within the command center, Gray and his team fought their way to the control room. The Volkai commanders, taken by surprise by the audacity of the attack, scrambled to defend their position. Gray's heart pounded as they breached the final door. Inside, the room was a hive of activity, with Volkai officers barking orders and coordinating the defense. Gray and Tank unleashed a torrent of fire, cutting through the defenders with brutal efficiency. Hawkeye, from her vantage point, took down key targets, her shots precise and lethal. The tide of the battle shifted in their favor as they pressed the attack. In the midst of the chaos, Gray spotted the Volkai Supreme Commander, a towering figure clad in dark armor. The commander's eyes locked onto Gray's, filled with a mix of hatred and defiance. Gray charged, engaging the commander in a brutal hand-to-hand combat. The two warriors clashed, each strike echoing with the weight of their respective species' survival. With a final, desperate effort, Gray overpowered the commander, delivering a fatal blow. Victory and sacrifice. With the command center secured, the remaining Volkai forces on Draken fell into disarray. The other teams completed their objectives, crippling the Volkai's ability to wage war. The cost, however, was high. Many brave warriors, both human and Tenkei, fell in the battle. As the smoke cleared, Gray stood amidst the ruins, the weight of their sacrifice heavy on his shoulders. Umbra and the surviving Tenkei joined Gray and his team. "We have dealt a significant blow to the Volkai," Umbra said, "but the war is not over. We must remain vigilant." Gray nodded, his resolve unwavering. "We'll keep fighting for those we lost, and for the future we believe in." A new dawn. The victory on Draken marked a turning point in the war. The Tenkei and their human allies had proven that even the mightiest foes could be brought down with determination and unity. As news of the victory spread, other oppressed species began to rise up against the Volkai, inspired by the example set by Gray and his team. Back on Seren, the High Council honored the fallen and celebrated the resilience of their newfound alliance. Gray, now a symbol of hope and defiance, knew that their journey was far from over. The Volkai would not rest, and neither would they. As the sun rose over the battered city of Seren, Gray looked to the horizon, ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. The monsters had been unleashed, but so had the heroes. And in this new dawn, they would forge a future free from tyranny. Together, shadows of betrayal. The defeat of the Volkai on Draken sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy, igniting a wave of rebellions and uprisings against the oppressive regime. However, with victory came new challenges, and the alliance between humans and the Tenkei faced its greatest test yet. Within the shadows, old enemies and new conspiracies began to emerge. Uneasy alliances. Back on Seren, the Tenkei High Council convened to discuss the next steps in their campaign. The war had taken its toll, and resources were stretched thin. Umbra, alongside Joseph Gray and his team, presented their strategy for pushing the advantage against the Volkai. "Our intel suggests the Volkai are regrouping at their secondary command center on Zeller," Gray explained, pointing to the holographic map. "If we strike now, we can prevent them from rebuilding their forces." Councillor Thaa, a staunch traditionalist, voiced her concerns. "We cannot ignore the growing unrest among our own people. Many are questioning our alliance with humans." They fear we are trading one form of domination for another. Umbra interjected, "We need unity now more than ever. The Vokai are weakened, but they are not defeated. If we falter, they will crush us." The debate was intense, but ultimately, the Council agreed to support the mission to Xylar. However, Gray and his team sensed the undercurrents of distrust and knew they had to tread carefully. A treacherous path. As preparations for the mission began, Gray noticed strange occurrences. Supplies went missing, communication channels were disrupted, and there were whispers of betrayal among the Tenke ranks. He convened a private meeting with his most trusted team members. "We've got a mole," Gray said bluntly. "Someone is trying to sabotage our efforts from within." Hawkeye frowned. "It has to be someone with access to our operations. We've been careful, but they know our moves." Tank grumbled, "I never trusted some of those counselors. They're too stuck in their ways, afraid of change." Gray nodded. "We need to root out the traitor before we launch the attack on Xylar. If we don't, we're walking into a trap." Uncovering the truth. To uncover the traitor, Gray enlisted the help of Ghost and Tech. Using their combined skills, they monitored communications and movements within the Tenke ranks. It wasn't long before they uncovered suspicious activities linked to Councillor Thala. "It looks like Thala has been in contact with a Vokai operative," Ghost reported. "She's been feeding them our plans and receiving instructions in return." Gray's eyes narrowed. "She's trying to undermine the alliance and pave the way for the Vokai to regain control." They needed concrete evidence before confronting Thala. Ghost and Tech devised a plan to intercept her next communication with the Vokai, hoping to catch her red-handed. The sting operation. In the dead of night, Gray and his team moved silently through the corridors of the Council's headquarters. They set up a surveillance post near Thala's private chambers, ready to record her treachery. Inside, Thala activated a hidden communicator. "The humans and Umbra are planning to strike Xylar. I have delayed their preparations as much as I can, but they will move soon." A distorted voice responded, "You have done well, Thala. Ensure their attack fails, and you will be rewarded. The Vokai will reclaim what is ours, and you will have a place in the new order." Gray signaled to his team, and they burst into the room, weapons drawn. "It's over, Thala. We have all the evidence we need." Thala's eyes widened with fear and anger. "You fools, you don't understand. The humans will betray us. They will conquer us once the Vokai are gone." Gray shook his head. "We're here to fight for freedom, not domination. You've betrayed your own people for a lie." The fallout. Thala was arrested and brought before the High Council. The evidence of her betrayal was overwhelming, and she was stripped of her position and sentenced to imprisonment. The Council was shaken, but the revelation of the betrayal galvanized them. "We must stand united," Umbra declared. "The Vokai will exploit any division among us. We fight for a common cause, and we will not be swayed by fear or distrust." Gray and his team prepared to launch the assault on Xylar. With the traitor exposed, they could move forward with renewed determination. But the shadows of betrayal had left a mark, and they knew the road ahead would be fraught with challenges. Battle for Xylar. The mission to Xylar was critical. If successful, it would cripple the Vokai's ability to coordinate their forces and buy the Alliance time to regroup and strengthen. Gray's team, along with a contingent of Tenke warriors, boarded their ships and set course for the Vokai stronghold. As they approached Xylar, the scale of the enemy defenses became clear. Massive orbital platforms bristled with weapons, and the planet's surface was dotted with fortresses and anti-aircraft batteries. "We'll need to split up," Gray ordered. "Hawkeye, Tank, and I will lead the ground assault. Ghost, you and Tech, handle the orbital platforms. We need to disable their defenses so our reinforcements can land." The teams launched their assault with precision and ferocity. Ghost and Tech infiltrated the orbital platforms, using their expertise to sabotage the enemy's systems. Explosions rocked the platforms as they went dark, paving the way for the ground forces. On the surface, Grey led his team through intense firefights and brutal skirmishes. The Volkai were relentless, but the humans and Tenkei fought with unmatched determination. Tank's brute strength and Hawkeye's deadly accuracy turned the tide in their favor. A turning point. As they pushed deeper into the Volkai stronghold, Grey's team encountered the enemy commander, a cunning strategist named Krell. The battle was fierce, with Krell's forces putting up a formidable resistance. Grey engaged Krell in a final showdown, their duel a clash of wills and skill. The fight was brutal, each combatant giving no quarter. In a decisive moment, Grey managed to disarm Krell and deliver a fatal blow. With Krell's death, the Volkai forces faltered. The remaining defenders surrendered or fled, unable to withstand the coordinated assault. The command center was secured, and the Alliance had struck a critical blow against the Volkai war machine. Aftermath and reflection. The victory on Zillar was celebrated across the galaxy. The Alliance had proven its strength and unity, but the cost was high. Many brave warriors had fallen, and the scars of betrayal still lingered. Grey stood with Umbra, overlooking the battlefield. "We've won a major victory, but the war is far from over," Grey said. Umbra nodded. "The Volkai are wounded, but they will not give up easily. We must continue to stand together, no matter the challenges." Grey's gaze was resolute. "We will, for our fallen comrades, for our future. We will fight on." As the sun set over the liberated planet of Zillar, the Alliance prepared for the battles yet to come. They had faced betrayal and emerged stronger, united by a common purpose. The road ahead was uncertain, but with heroes like Grey and his team leading the charge, hope burned brighter than ever. The ascension of shadows. The battle for Zillar had marked a significant turning point in the war against the Volkai, but the Alliance knew that their struggle was far from over. As the humans and Tenkei regrouped and planned their next moves, a new and insidious threat began to rise from within the ranks of the enemy. The emergence of a new foe. On a desolate, forsaken world deep within Volkai territory, a clandestine gathering of high-ranking Volkai officials took place. Among them stood a figure cloaked in darkness, their features obscured by a hood. This mysterious leader, known only as Obsidian, had risen to power through cunning and ruthlessness. Obsidian addressed the assembled Volkai with a voice that resonated with authority. "The humans and Tenkei believe they have weakened us, but they are mistaken. We have suffered losses, yes, but we are far from defeated. Under my command, we will rise stronger and reclaim what is rightfully ours." The Volkai leaders, desperate for hope and direction, pledged their loyalty to Obsidian. With a new leader at their helm, the Volkai began to regroup and fortify their remaining strongholds, preparing for a resurgence that would catch the Alliance off guard. Trouble in the ranks. Back on Seren, the Alliance faced internal challenges of their own. Despite the victory on Zillar, tensions between the human and Tenkei factions persisted. Some Tenkei, still wary of their human allies, began to question the wisdom of their partnership. Counselor Thala's betrayal had left deep scars, and the Alliance struggled to maintain trust and unity. In a bid to address these concerns, Umbra called for a council meeting, inviting representatives from both factions to voice their grievances and seek common ground. Trouble in the ranks. Back on Seren, the Alliance faced internal challenges of their own. Despite the victory on Zillar, tensions between the human and Tenkei factions persisted. Some Tenkei, still wary of their human allies, began to question the wisdom of their partnership. Counselor Thala's betrayal had left deep scars, and the Alliance struggled to maintain trust and unity. In a bid to address these concerns, Umbra called for a council meeting, inviting representatives from both factions to voice their grievances and seek common ground. As the meeting began, Counselor Thala's successor, Counselor Varia, spoke with measured calm. "We must not let fear and mistrust divide us. The Volkai are our true enemy, and only through unity can we hope to overcome them." Grey, standing beside Umbra, added, We've proven that we can achieve great things together. Our victory on Zillar was a testament to our strength as an alliance. But we must remain vigilant and support each other if we are to see this through. The discussions were intense, but slowly, a sense of mutual understanding began to emerge. The alliance knew that their greatest strength lay in their diversity and their shared commitment to freedom. A new mission. With the immediate threat on Zillar neutralized, the alliance turned their attention to the next phase of their campaign. Intelligence reports indicated that the Volkai were amassing forces on the planet Eclipsa, a heavily fortified world known for its treacherous terrain and strategic importance. Gray and his team were tasked with leading a reconnaissance mission to gather crucial information about the Volkai's plans and fortifications. Accompanied by a squad of 10K scouts, they embarked on a covert operation to infiltrate Eclipsa and relay their findings back to the Alliance. Infiltration and discovery. Eclipsa's surface was shrouded in perpetual twilight, with jagged mountains and dense forests providing ample cover for their approach. As Gray's team navigated the hostile landscape, they encountered fierce resistance from Volkai patrols, forcing them to employ every ounce of their training and ingenuity to evade detection. Ghost, using her advanced stealth capabilities, scouted ahead and located a hidden entrance to the Volkai's main base. "I've found a way in," she reported. "It's heavily guarded, but if we move carefully, we can slip past their defenses." Gray nodded, formulating a plan. "We'll split into 2 teams. Ghost, you and Tech handle the surveillance systems and create a distraction. Hawkeye, Tank, and I will infiltrate the base and gather intel." The teams executed their plan with precision. Ghost and Tech hacked into the Volkai systems, causing a series of controlled explosions that drew the guards away from their posts. Meanwhile, Gray, Hawkeye, and Tank slipped into the base and began their search for critical data. In the heart of the base, they discovered a command center where Obsidian's plans were laid out in meticulous detail. Gray's eyes widened as he scanned the information. They're planning a massive counteroffensive. If they succeed, it could turn the tide of the war. Hawkeye, keeping watch, signaled for them to hurry. "We need to get this back to the Alliance now." Escape and revelation. As they made their way out of the base, alarms blared, and Volkai reinforcements closed in. The team fought their way through with Tank's brute strength clearing a path and Hawkeye's precision shots taking down enemies with lethal efficiency. Outside, Ghost and Tech provided cover fire, ensuring their escape. They regrouped and transmitted the data to the Alliance headquarters, their mission a success but at great risk. Upon reviewing the intel, Umbra and the Alliance leaders realized the gravity of the situation. Obsidian's plans for a counteroffensive were extensive, involving multiple fronts and a coordinated strike that could cripple the Alliance. "We must act quickly," Umbra declared. "We need to fortify our defenses and prepare for their attack. But more importantly, we need to find a way to neutralize Obsidian before they can execute their plan." The hunt for Obsidian. Gray and his team were given a new mission: track down Obsidian and disrupt the Volkai's command structure. It was a daunting task, but they were determined to prevent the enemy from regaining their foothold. As they prepared for the mission, Gray gathered his team. "This won't be easy. Obsidian is a formidable opponent, and they know we're coming. But we've faced impossible odds before, and we've always come through." Hawkeye smirked. "Just another day at the office." Tank nodded. "Let's do this." With renewed determination, Gray's team set out on their most dangerous mission yet. The fate of the Alliance rested on their shoulders, and the shadows of betrayal and war loomed large. But they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in their fight for freedom and a better future. Into the heart of darkness, the mission to find and neutralize Obsidian was fraught with danger and uncertainty. Gray and his team, now seasoned veterans of this interstellar war, knew that their success or failure could determine the fate of countless worlds. As they prepared to embark on this perilous journey, The Alliance provided them with the latest intelligence and cutting-edge equipment, hoping to tip the scales in their favor. Preparation and departure. In the Alliance's war room, Umbra briefed Grey and his team on their mission. A holographic map of the Volkai territories hovered above the table, displaying their known strongholds and suspected movements. Our intelligence suggests that Obsidian's command center is located deep within the fortress world of Nocturna, Umbra explained. It's a heavily fortified planet with defenses that are nearly impenetrable. But if we can infiltrate it and take out Obsidian, we can disrupt their entire chain of command. Grey studied the map, his mind racing with possibilities. We'll need a distraction to draw their forces away from the main base, something big enough to make them think we're launching a full-scale assault. Umbra nodded. We'll coordinate with the Tenki fleet to launch a series of hit-and-run attacks on their outlying bases. That should give you the window you need to get in and get out. Tech, ever the strategist, added, we'll need to hack into their systems to disable their security measures and create a false trail. Ghost and I can handle that while the rest of the team focuses on the primary objective. With the plan in place, the team made their final preparations. They donned advanced exosuits equipped with the latest stealth technology, ensuring they could move undetected through enemy territory. Their weapons were calibrated for maximum efficiency, and each member carried specialized gear tailored to their role. As they boarded their stealth ship, Grey addressed his team. We've faced impossible odds before, and we've always come out on top. This mission will be no different. Stay focused, stay sharp, and remember what's at stake. The fate of the Alliance rests on our shoulders. The infiltration, Nocturna, loomed before them, a dark and foreboding planet covered in jagged mountain ranges and deep canyons. The Volkai had turned it into a fortress with defensive turrets, energy shields, and patrols guarding every approach. The stealth ship descended through the planet's atmosphere, its cloaking technology rendering it invisible to enemy sensors. As they neared their landing zone, Ghost monitored the Volkai communications, ensuring their approach remained undetected. All clear, she reported. We're landing in a blind spot between their patrol routes. We should have a few minutes before they notice anything unusual. The team disembarked swiftly, moving through the shadows with practiced precision. Tech immediately set to work on a nearby control panel, hacking into the Volkai's security network to disable the alarms and create a false trail. We're in, Tech said, his fingers flying over the holographic interface. I've looped their surveillance feeds and planted false data. They won't know we're here until it's too late. Grey led the way, his senses on high alert. The fortress was a labyrinth of corridors and chambers, each one more heavily guarded than the last. As they moved deeper into the heart of the base, they encountered fierce resistance from Volkai soldiers, but their training and teamwork allowed them to press forward. The encounter. In the command center, Obsidian stood before a massive tactical display, coordinating the Volkai's defensive efforts. The leader's eyes glinted with intelligence and malice, a testament to their ruthless ambition. One of Obsidian's lieutenants approached, reporting on the Alliance's diversionary attacks. The humans and Tenki are hitting our outlying bases hard. They're trying to draw our forces away from Nocturna. Obsidian's lips curled into a cold smile. They're underestimating us. Deploy our reserve units to reinforce the outer defenses, but keep our elite guard here. The Alliance won't catch us off guard. Unbeknownst to Obsidian, Grey and his team had breached the final layer of defenses and were closing in on the command center. As they approached, Ghost detected a surge of energy signatures from within. They're onto us, she warned. We need to move fast. Grey signaled for the team to split up. Ghost, Tech, take the left flank and disable their power generators. Hawkeye, Tank, you're with me. We'll hit them head-on and create a distraction. The team moved with lethal efficiency. Ghost and Tech infiltrated the power room, planting charges on the generators to cut off the base's power supply. As the lights flickered and went out, chaos erupted within the fortress. Hawkeye and Tank unleashed a barrage of firepower, drawing the elite Volkite guards away from the command center. Gray charged forward, his pulse rifle cutting down enemies with precision. The final confrontation. In the dimly lit command center, Obsidian turned to face Gray, a look of recognition in their eyes. So, the humans have come to challenge me personally. How predictable. Gray leveled his rifle at Obsidian. This ends now. Your reign of terror is over. Obsidian laughed, a chilling sound that echoed through the chamber. You think you can stop me? You're nothing but a pawn in a game you don't understand. The two clashed in a fierce battle, their skills and determination pushing them to their limits. Obsidian wielded a pair of energy blades with deadly precision, countering Gray's attacks with lightning-fast reflexes. As the fight raged on, Gray's team worked to neutralize the remaining Volkite guards. Ghost and Tech rejoined the fray, their combined efforts tipping the scales in favor of the humans. With a final decisive blow, Gray disarmed Obsidian and pinned them to the ground. It's over, he said, his voice filled with determination. Obsidian sneered, even in defeat. You may have won this battle, but the war is far from over. Others will rise to take my place. Gray tightened his grip, then we'll be ready for them. Aftermath and reflection. With Obsidian captured and the fortress on Nocturna neutralized, the Alliance scored a significant victory. The Volkite, now leaderless and in disarray, were forced to retreat from several key positions, buying the Alliance precious time to regroup and strengthen their defenses. Back on Surin, Umbra and the Council recognized the importance of their triumph, but remained cautious. We can't let our guard down, Umbra warned. The Volkite will undoubtedly seek revenge, and we must be prepared for whatever comes next. Gray and his team returned to a hero's welcome, their bravery and skill celebrated by both humans and Tenke. Yet, amidst the accolades, Gray couldn't shake the feeling that the war was far from over. As he stood on the balcony of the Alliance headquarters, gazing at the stars, Ghost joined him. Penny for your thoughts, she asked. Gray sighed. We've come a long way, but I can't help but wonder what other threats are out there. Obsidian was just one piece of the puzzle. Ghost nodded, her expression thoughtful. Whatever comes, we'll face it together. We've proven that we can overcome anything as long as we stand united. Gray smiled, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. You're right. We've got a long road ahead, but we'll face it head-on, just like we always do. As the Alliance prepared for the next phase of their struggle, Gray and his team knew that their fight was far from over. But with their unity and unwavering determination, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, standing as a beacon of hope in the darkness shadows and alliances. With Obsidian captured and the Volkite forces in disarray, the Alliance experienced a brief respite. However, Gray and his team knew that this was just the calm before the storm. The Volkite were not defeated, merely wounded, and other dark forces might still be lurking in the shadows. Interrogation and new intelligence. Obsidian, now a prisoner of the Alliance, was held in a high-security facility on Surin. The Alliance's top intelligence officers, including Tech, worked tirelessly to extract valuable information from the captured leader. However, Obsidian proved to be a tough nut to crack, maintaining an air of arrogance even in chains. Gray, frustrated with the lack of progress, decided to take a more personal approach. He entered the interrogation room, where Obsidian sat, bound and defiant. You must think you're very clever. Obsidian sneered. But you'll find that my knowledge is more than you can handle. Gray remained calm, his gaze unwavering. We don't need you to talk. Your actions have already given us plenty of clues. We know about your operations, your supply lines, and your tactics. You're not as invincible as you think. Obsidian's eyes flickered with a mix of surprise and annoyance. Then why are you here, Captain? To gloat? No, Gray replied. To understand. Why do you continue this war? What is it that you're really after? Obsidian leaned back, a calculating expression on their face. Power. Control. The Volkai believe in a future where the strong rule over the weak. Your alliance is a threat to that vision, and I intend to eliminate it. Gray studied Obsidian for a moment, then nodded. Your vision is flawed. You underestimate the strength that comes from unity and cooperation. The alliance is stronger than you realize. Leaving Obsidian to ponder his words, Gray rejoined his team. We're not getting much from him, he admitted. But we have to keep pressing. There has to be something we can use. Tech, always the optimist, smiled. Don't worry, Gray. We'll crack this. In the meantime, we've got new intel on a possible Volkai ally. It seems they're reaching out to other hostile factions for support. A new threat emerges. The Alliance's intelligence network soon confirmed Tech's suspicions. The Volkai were indeed seeking new alliances with other alien races that had grievances against the human Tenki coalition. Among these potential allies was a race known as the Xaroni, known for their cunning and technological prowess. Umbra called an emergency meeting of the Alliance Council. We can't allow the Volkai to strengthen their forces with new allies. We need to disrupt their negotiations and show these potential allies that joining the Volkai will only lead to their downfall. Gray volunteered for the mission. We can infiltrate their meeting, gather intelligence, and, if necessary, take out key leaders. It won't be easy, but we've handled tougher missions. The Council agreed, and soon Gray and his team were preparing for another dangerous assignment. This time, they would be venturing into the heart of Xaroni territory, a place shrouded in mystery and peril. The infiltration. The Xaroni meeting was to take place on a secluded moon, its surface covered in dense forests and treacherous terrain. The Alliance provided Gray's team with detailed maps and the latest in stealth technology to aid their infiltration. As they approached the moon, Ghost scanned the area for any signs of the Volkai or Xaroni. We're clear for now, but we need to stay sharp. The Xaroni are known for their advanced surveillance systems. The team landed their stealth ship in a hidden clearing and began their trek towards the meeting site. Moving through the forest, they encountered various traps and automated defenses, which Tech deftly disarmed. These Xaroni sure know how to protect their secrets, Tech remarked, but they're no match for us. After hours of careful navigation, they finally reached the meeting site. A large, concealed structure nestled in a valley, surrounded by Xaroni guards and Volkai representatives. Using their advanced optics, the team observed the proceedings from a safe distance. Gray focused on a particular Volkai officer who seemed to be leading the negotiations. That's General Drakkar, he whispered, one of Obsidian's top lieutenants. If we can capture him, we might get the intel we need. The ambush. As the meeting progressed, Gray's team moved into position. Ghost and Tech set up jamming devices to disrupt communications, while Hawkeye and Tank covered their flanks. Gray himself prepared to lead the assault. On Gray's signal, the team sprang into action. Ghost's jamming devices activated, throwing the Xaroni and Volkai into disarray. Tech hacked into the structure's security systems, opening doors and disabling defenses to allow for a swift entry. Gray and his team stormed the building, their coordinated assault overwhelming the guards. Within minutes, they reached the main chamber where Drakkar and his Xaroni counterpart were meeting. Drakkar, realizing the danger, tried to escape, but Tank tackled him to the ground with a powerful charge. Gray secured the general while Ghost and Hawkeye provided cover. You're not going anywhere, Gray said firmly, restraining the struggling Drakkar. It's over. Drakkar glared at him but knew he was defeated. You think capturing me will stop us? The Volkai will never surrender. Gray tightened the restraints. We'll see about that. Right now, you're going to tell us everything you know. Aftermath and reflection. With Drakkar in custody, the Alliance gained valuable intelligence about the Volkai's plans and their efforts to recruit new allies. The Xaroni, seeing the Alliance's strength and resolve, reconsidered their position and withdrew their support for the Volkai. Umbra commended Gray and his team for their success. You've dealt a significant blow to the Volkai's efforts. This will buy us time to fortify our defenses and strengthen our position. As the alliance regrouped, Gray found himself once again on the balcony, reflecting on the events. Ghost joined him, as she often did. Another victory, but the war continues, Gray mused. True, Ghost agreed. But each victory brings us closer to peace. We have to keep fighting, not just for ourselves, but for everyone who depends on us. Gray nodded, feeling the weight of their responsibility. We'll keep fighting. As long as we stand together, we can overcome anything. With renewed determination, Gray and his team prepared for the next chapter in their ongoing battle. They knew the road ahead would be long and difficult, but they were ready to face whatever challenges came their way, united in their quest for a brighter future. Echoes of the past. With General Drakkar in custody, the Alliance focused on consolidating their gains and deciphering the valuable intelligence he had reluctantly provided. Drakkar's information revealed several Volkai strongholds and supply routes, which the Alliance could now target to further weaken their enemy. But more intriguingly, there were hints of an even greater threat, a hidden power driving the Volkai's ambitions from the shadows. Unearthing secrets. In the depths of Saren's intelligence facility, Tech and his team pored over Drakkar's data. Tech's sharp mind quickly noticed a pattern in the Volkai's communications that suggested the presence of an enigmatic figure known only as the Architect. Whoever this Architect is, Tech said, they're orchestrating the Volkai's moves with meticulous precision. If we can uncover their identity and location, we might have a chance to end this war once and for all. Gray nodded thoughtfully. We need to trace every lead, no matter how small. The Architect could be the key to everything. The investigation led Gray and his team to an ancient ruin on a distant planet, rumored to be one of the Architect's hidden lairs. The planet Caladan was once home to a thriving civilization, now reduced to a desolate wasteland by a mysterious cataclysm. The journey to Caladan. Gray, Ghost, Tech, Hawkeye, and Tank embarked on their mission to Caladan with a mix of anticipation and trepidation. The journey was fraught with danger, as the Volkai were aware of their movements and keen to protect their secrets. As they approached Caladan, the team was met with fierce resistance from Volkai patrols. A high-speed chase through asteroid fields and dogfights with Volkai fighters tested their skills and resolve. But with Gray's tactical genius and Ghost's unparalleled piloting, they managed to evade capture and land on the planet's surface. Caladan's landscape was a stark contrast to the lush forests of Saren. Desolate plains and crumbling ruins stretched as far as the eye could see. The air was thick with the weight of lost history and forgotten battles. Stay sharp, Gray warned. We don't know what we're walking into. Exploring the ruins. The team navigated through the ruins, their every step echoing through the hollow remnants of once great structures. Tech scanned the area for any signs of activity, while Hawkeye and Tank kept a vigilant watch. Ghost's eyes narrowed as she spotted something in the distance. There's movement up ahead. Could be Volkai or something else entirely. As they advanced, they encountered ancient security systems and traps, still active despite the passage of time. Tech skillfully bypassed these obstacles, using his knowledge of both old and new technology. Deep within the ruins, they discovered a hidden chamber, its walls adorned with strange symbols and intricate carvings. In the center of the chamber stood a pedestal, holding a holographic device that flickered to life at their approach. A figure materialized in the hologram, an imposing presence with an air of authority. "Welcome, interlopers," the figure said, its voice cold and calculating. "I am the Architect. You've done well to make it this far." Gray stepped forward, his expression steely. "We're here to put an end to your schemes, Architect. Your time is up." The Architect chuckled, a sound devoid of warmth. "You are bold, Captain Gray, but you have no idea what you're up against. The Volkai are merely the beginning. My vision transcends them, and soon all will kneel before me." A desperate battle. Before Gray could respond, The chamber trembled as Volkai soldiers burst in, led by an elite commander. "Protect the architect at all costs," the commander bellowed. A fierce battle ensued. Hawkeye's precise shots picked off Volkai soldiers, while Tank's brute strength held the line. Ghost weaved through the chaos, taking down enemies with lethal efficiency, and Tech used his gadgets to create diversions and disable enemy weapons. Gray engaged the elite commander in a duel, their blades clashing with sparks. "You won't stop us," Gray growled, pushing his opponent back. "The Alliance will prevail." They breached the command post's perimeter, entering a vast control room filled with advanced technology. Tech immediately set to work, downloading critical data and sabotaging the Volkai's communications. "Got it," Tech said, a triumphant smile on his face. "This should disrupt their operations for weeks." Gray nodded. "Good work. Now let's get out of here before they regroup." The Architect's Gambit. As they prepared to exfiltrate, Tech's devices picked up an encrypted transmission. The voice on the other end was unmistakably the Architect's. "You think you've won, Captain Gray, but you're merely playing into my hands. Your victory here is hollow. The true battle is yet to come." Gray clenched his fists. "Where are you, Architect? Show yourself." The Architect's laughter echoed through the room. "All in due time, Captain. You've made things interesting, but your efforts are futile. The galaxy will fall, and you will watch it burn." The transmission ended, leaving the team with a chilling sense of foreboding. They knew the Architect was planning something far more sinister than they had anticipated. A temporary victory. Returning to Surin, Gray reported the successful mission and the ominous message from the Architect. Umbra's expression was one of both relief and concern. "We've dealt a significant blow to the Volkai, but the Architect's words trouble me," she admitted. "We must be ready for whatever they have planned." Gray nodded. "We'll need to stay vigilant and prepare for the worst. The Architect is playing a long game, and we have to be ready to counter every move." Reinforcing the Alliance. In the aftermath of Operation Starfall, the Alliance focused on fortifying their defenses and strengthening their unity. New recruits joined their ranks, inspired by the success of the mission and the hope it represented. Gray and his team trained tirelessly, sharing their knowledge and experience with the new soldiers. The camaraderie and determination of the Alliance grew stronger with each passing day. Ghost took on a mentorship role, guiding young soldiers in the art of stealth and precision. Tech continued to enhance their technological capabilities, ensuring they stayed ahead of the Volkai's advancements. Hawkeye and Tank formed an inseparable duo, their bond cemented by the countless battles they had fought together. Their presence bolstered the morale of everyone around them. A new discovery. While analyzing the data from Virillion Prime, Tech discovered a series of coordinates hidden within the Volkai's encrypted files. The coordinates pointed to a remote, uncharted region of space, an area long considered a dead zone due to its hazardous conditions. "This could be it," Tech said, excitement in his voice. "The Architect's base of operations." Gray studied the coordinates. "It's risky, but it's our best lead. We need to investigate this. If we can find the Architect and put an end to their plans, we can turn the tide of this war." Umbra agreed. "Prepare for the mission, but proceed with caution. The Architect will be expecting us." Into the unknown. With the coordinates in hand, Gray and his team readied themselves for their most dangerous mission yet. They knew that venturing into the uncharted region could be a one-way trip, but they were resolute in their determination. As they boarded the dropship, Gray addressed his team. "This is it. The Architect is our ultimate target. Whatever we find out there, we face it together. We've come too far to turn back now." The dropship lifted off, carrying them toward the heart of darkness. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and Gray and his team were prepared to risk everything to save it. Their journey was a testament to human resilience and courage. They were the beacon of hope in a galaxy overshadowed by tyranny, and they were ready to shine their light into the deepest shadows. The Architect's gambit had begun, but so had the Alliance's final push for victory. The stage was set for an epic confrontation, one that would decide the future of countless worlds. The commander sneered. "You underestimate our resolve. The architect's vision will come to pass." With a final powerful strike, Grey disarmed the commander and turned his attention to the hologram. "This ends now, Architect." The architect's image flickered. "You may have won this battle, but the war is far from over. I have contingencies in place. The future is mine." The hologram faded, leaving the chamber in silence. Grey's team regrouped, their victory tempered by the architect's ominous words. Aftermath and new resolve. Returning to Seren, Grey reported their findings to the Alliance Council. Umbra listened intently, her expression grave. "The architect is a formidable foe, but we now have a clearer understanding of their intentions. We must prepare for their next move." Tech began analyzing the data from the architect's chamber, hoping to uncover more about their enemy's plans. "There's still much we don't know, but one thing is certain: the architect's reach is vast. We need to strengthen our defenses and continue gathering intelligence." Grey looked around at his team, their faces resolute. "We faced countless challenges and emerged stronger each time. The architect may think they're unstoppable, but they haven't reckoned with the power of our unity and determination." Ghost placed a hand on Grey's shoulder. "We'll find a way to stop them, just like we always do." As the Alliance mobilized for the next phase of the war, Grey and his team prepared for the battles to come. They knew the road ahead would be treacherous, but they were ready to face it together, driven by the hope of a future free from tyranny and fear. The echoes of the past had revealed a formidable new enemy, but they had also strengthened the Alliance's resolve. United in purpose and spirit, Grey and his team would continue their fight, determined to bring light to even the darkest corners of the galaxy. The heart of darkness. The Alliance had gained critical intelligence on the architect, but it was clear that a direct confrontation with this shadowy figure would require even more preparation and unity. With every passing day, the threat of the Volkai grew, and the urgency to unmask and defeat the architect intensified. Strategic planning. Grey and his team gathered in the war room with Umbra and the other leaders of the Alliance. The holographic table displayed a map of the galaxy, highlighting key Volkai strongholds and suspected locations tied to the architect. "We need to strike at the heart of the Volkai's operations," Umbra said, her eyes scanning the map. "We must cripple their supply lines and disrupt their command structure." Tech nodded, pointing to a cluster of planets in the outer rim. "Based on the data we retrieved, these are major hubs for the Volkai. Hitting these will buy us time and weaken their defenses." Grey leaned forward, his expression serious. "And what about the architect? Any leads on their true location?" Umbra sighed. "Not yet, but we have agents infiltrating their networks. It's only a matter of time before we get something concrete." Operation Starfall. The Alliance launched Operation Starfall, a series of coordinated strikes on the Volkai's key logistical centers. Grey and his team were assigned to lead the assault on one of the most heavily defended planets, Viridian Prime. The mission was perilous. Viridian Prime was fortified with advanced weaponry and a garrison of elite Volkai troops. But it was also a critical supply hub, and taking it out would severely disrupt the Volkai's war efforts. Landing on Viridian Prime, the dropship shuddered as it broke through the planet's atmosphere. Grey, Ghost, Tech, Hawkeye, and Tank prepared for the impending battle. The tension was palpable, but their determination was unwavering. "Stay focused," Grey instructed. "We hit them hard and fast. Disrupt their defenses and take control of the central command post." The dropship landed with a jarring thud. The team stormed out, immediately coming under heavy fire from entrenched Volkai forces. Hawkeye returned fire, his shots precise and lethal, while Tank charged forward, his shield absorbing the brunt of the enemy's attacks. Ghost moved with deadly grace, weaving through the chaos and eliminating threats with surgical precision. Tech hacked into the Volkai's security systems, causing turrets to turn on their own troops and creating confusion among the defenders. The Central Command Post. Reaching the Central Command Post was a brutal endeavor. The Volkai fought fiercely to protect their stronghold, but the Alliance team's skill and coordination began to turn the tide. Gray led the charge, his every move calculated to exploit the enemy's weaknesses. The Architect's lair. The dropship emerged from the dense nebula, revealing a stark, eerie landscape. Ahead lay the remote, uncharted region of space indicated by the coordinates. This was a place of shattered asteroids and swirling cosmic debris, a perfect hiding spot for the Architect's base. Navigating the hazardous zone, Gray and his team were ready for the unknown. The dropship's sensors scanned the area, picking up faint, irregular signals that led them deeper into the void. The constant jostling from the debris made the journey uncomfortable, but the crew's resolve remained unshaken. "Keep your eyes peeled," Gray instructed. "We're in uncharted territory, and we don't know what to expect." Tech was busy deciphering the data from their scans, trying to pinpoint the exact location of the Architect's base. "There's something strange about these readings," Tech said. "It's almost like they're masking their signals with a form of interference. I'll need to do some deeper analysis." The ship's lights flickered as it navigated through a particularly dense asteroid field. The crew braced themselves for the turbulence as the dropship maneuvered expertly, avoiding collisions with the floating debris. The hidden entrance. After several hours of navigating the treacherous region, Tech finally pinpointed a signal. The team descended towards an asteroid that appeared to be the source. The asteroid was larger than most, with a rugged surface that seemed to hide something more sinister beneath. "Looks like we found our destination," Gray said as the dropship touched down on the asteroid's surface. "Everyone, stay alert. We don't know what's waiting for us." The team disembarked and began to explore the surface. The asteroid's surface was littered with wreckage and strange structures, giving it an almost alien appearance. Gray led the way, his senses heightened as he scanned for potential threats. Tech found a hidden hatch camouflaged against the rock. "I think this is it," he said, activating the mechanism. The hatch slowly opened to reveal a dimly lit corridor leading downward. Entering the lair, the team descended into the darkness, their footsteps echoing off the metallic walls. The air was cool and dry, filled with the faint hum of machinery. As they moved deeper, the corridor opened into a vast chamber. The chamber was a labyrinth of advanced technology, with screens displaying complex data and machinery working incessantly. At the center of the chamber was a massive control console, its surface covered in alien symbols and readouts. "Looks like we found the heart of their operations," Ghost observed, scanning the area for traps. Tech connected his equipment to the console, attempting to decrypt the data. "Give me a moment. I need to access their systems and find out where the Architect is." Uncovering the truth? As Tech worked, Gray and the others kept watch, their eyes scanning the chamber for any signs of danger. The atmosphere was tense, with the knowledge that the Architect could appear at any moment. Tech's face was illuminated by the glow of the console as he worked quickly. "I accessed the mainframe," he announced. "I'm extracting all relevant information now. We should have a location on the Architect soon." The team's anticipation was palpable. If they could find the Architect, they could end the threat once and for all. As Tech extracted the data, a chilling realization struck. "Wait a minute," Tech said, his voice filled with unease. "This data, it's not just about the Architect. It's a whole network of bases, spread across multiple systems. The Architect is not alone." The Architect's revelation. As Tech continued to work, the room's lights suddenly dimmed, and a holographic projection flickered to life. The figure of the Architect appeared, their features obscured by a shifting cloak of shadows. "You've made it far," the Architect's voice echoed through the chamber. "But this is where your journey ends. You were not meant to uncover the truth." Gray's hand tightened around his weapon. "Architect, show yourself. We know what you're planning." The architect's form shifted, revealing a face that was both familiar and foreign. "I am but a part of a greater design," the architect said. "The galaxy's fate was sealed long before your arrival. You are merely pawns in a game you cannot comprehend." The final confrontation. The chamber's atmosphere grew charged as the architect's words sank in. Gray and his team prepared for a confrontation, their weapons at the ready. The architect's presence was unsettling, their power palpable. "We're not backing down," Gray said firmly. "Whatever your plans are, we'll stop them." The architect's form twisted and coalesced into a more defined shape, revealing advanced weaponry and a menacing presence. "Then you will die trying. But know this, your efforts will only hasten the inevitable." With a sudden burst of energy, the architect launched an attack. Gray and his team responded immediately, their combat skills put to the ultimate test. The chamber erupted into chaos as they fought against the architect's formidable defenses. Ghost moved swiftly, evading attacks and targeting weak points. Tech hacked into the chamber's systems, trying to disable the architect's advantages. Hawkeye provided cover with precise shots, while Tank engaged the architect's forces directly. Despite their efforts, the architect proved to be a relentless and formidable adversary. Their attacks were calculated and devastating, forcing Gray and his team to adapt their strategies continuously. A new hope. As the battle raged on, Gray realized that defeating the architect might not be possible through brute force alone. They needed to outthink their opponent. "Tech, can you disable the architect's main power source?" Gray shouted. Tech nodded, working furiously at the console. "I'm on it." With a final desperate push, Tech managed to disrupt the architect's power systems, causing their defenses to falter. Gray seized the opportunity, launching a coordinated attack that finally subdued the architect. Breathing heavily, Gray and his team stood victorious but weary. The architect's presence had been defeated, but the reality of their plans was still unfolding. The aftermath. With the architect defeated, the team gathered the remaining data from the mainframe. They knew that the architect's defeat was a significant victory, but the threat was far from over. "We need to warn the rest of the Alliance," Gray said. "There's more to this than we realized. We have to prepare for what's coming." The team returned to their dropship, their minds heavy with the weight of their discovery. The galaxy's fate was still uncertain, but their resolve to fight for its survival remained unshaken. As they left the remote region, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter. The Alliance had taken a crucial step towards victory, but the journey was far from over. There were more battles to be fought and more challenges to overcome. In the darkness of space, the struggle for the galaxy's future continued. And with each step, Gray and his team remained steadfast in their commitment to defend their world and ensure that hope would always shine through the shadows.